drones hunted a Russian ship that, for weeks, had been strangling Ukraine's essential naval drone operations along this crucial coastline. The Russian spy ship, 15 miles off Novorossiysk, had logged a critical pattern of life for 6 weeks straight.
While the patrol had been relatively quiet so far, this critical situation was about to change profoundly in mere seconds. Unknown to the Russian spy ship, the skimming Ukrainian drones were constructed of simple plywood, a brilliant technical surprise.
This graphic illustrates the scale. A European herring gull and a standard quadcopter drone are dwarfed.
20 minutes after their rushed launch, a Russian four-post R reconnaissance drone appeared on the horizon, patrolling the usual way. Its advanced camera system could spot a basketball from 5 kilometers away and detect subtle 2-degree temperature differences effortlessly.
At 0245, the lead FP1's engine heat spiked on the four-post display. 3 contacts, low altitude, moving quickly.
The Russian operators zoomed in to classify the targets, but the pre-programmed evasion immediately kicked in as they watched.
The drones dropped sharply to just 2 meters above the water, disappearing into what radar operators call ground clutter. The wooden construction mattered greatly. Within minutes, the plywood frames had cooled completely to match the surrounding sea temperature.
To the four-post thermal camera, they had utterly vanished, a complete and total, inexplicable technical disappearance from the screen.
The operator logged the contact as possible birds and continued his routine patrol, completely unaware of the mistake. Behind the drones, the urgent reason for their hurried launch became painfully clear. Russian Shahed found the site. The operators barely escaped as 50-kilogram warheads turned their vital equipment into meaningless scrap metal just minutes later. The spy ship's intelligent network was already working, trying to compute, but it simply was not fast enough.
At 0330 hours, as the FP1s continued crossing the Black Sea, 20 Ukrainian naval drones launched towards Sevastopol now.
What unfolded next would trick Russia into leaving their most valuable intelligence asset completely and utterly defenseless now. The decoy swarm was merely modified jet skis and cheap commercial boats, simple throwaway assets costing less than $10,000.
They were designed to look exactly like Mirov F5 naval drones on radar, maintaining the right formation and speed.
Тревога! 20 целей! Курс на Севастополь!
Creating a fully convincing decoy requires more than simple boats. The drones had to follow realistic, detailed attack patterns. They broadcast on known frequencies, and some even carried heat sources to perfectly mimic the infrared signature of armed drones.
The Russian admiral had 6 Ka-27PL helicopters, the Black Sea Fleet's ultimate, primary defense against naval drones.
Ships are simply too slow to chase these targets, and fighter jets cannot hover to successfully search for them. But helicopters can cover 100 kilometers in only 20 minutes and neutralize everything within a 50-meter radius.
Russian doctrine demanded responding to the most visible threat first. All 6 Novorossiysk helicopters launched west at 270 kilometers per hour.
The distinctive womp-womp of their powerful rotors faded as they urgently raced toward the 20 decoy contacts on the water. Every minute they flew west was another minute the real drones flew eastward, completely unopposed to their critical target. The spy ship, 15 miles off Novorossiysk, now had absolutely no air cover, no quick reaction force available to help it. For the next 2 hours, any drone that managed to get past the patrol boats would have a clear, undefended shot.
The 3 FP1s adjusted course 15 degrees north, exploiting something discovered through months of painstaking, intense observation.
The Russians had 2 powerful Podlet K1 radar stations in this sector, each one rotating at exactly 10 revolutions per minute. For 4 seconds every single minute, they were both pointing away from a small 2-kilometer corridor, the crucial dark corner. But the Russians had adapted. Random desynchronization had suddenly begun to eliminate all predictable and dangerous blind spots quickly. The first drone entered the shrinking corridor at 0447, 4 seconds invisible, then 2 seconds visible to the fast sweep.
The second drone followed 30 seconds behind, still on course, but the third one developed a severe, unforeseen problem.
A microscopic flaw in its autopilot gyroscope caused it to drift 200 meters off course, and the error was constantly growing. At 0448, Russian operators received new orders, randomized rotation patterns, shrinking the safe window rapidly indeed. The third drone had made it through the corridor, but that frantic maneuver burned 12 full minutes of its necessary fuel. Meanwhile, the Russian spy ship maintained station 15 miles off Novorossiysk, its intelligence mission taking top priority always.
Two patrol boats maintained a protective screen around this radar, acted like a strategic quarterback calling.
At 0500, the decoy fleet performed its final, selfless act. As the Russian helicopters closed, the 20 drones scattered quickly.
The helicopters spent another hour hunting stragglers, wasting ammunition and their valuable fuel on cheap assets.
By the time they headed home, they were 180 kilometers from Novorossiysk, with half their total fuel completely gone and spent.
The real attack was still coming, but visibility continued dropping quickly as the heavy morning fog thickened across the Black Sea. At 0600 hours, the lead FP1 was 240 kilometers from the target when its GPS position began sliding east.
The Russians had activated their R-330 ZHT system, but Ukrainian operators had learned too. Oil platforms dotted the Black Sea for position resets every 50 kilometers. The FP1's primitive cameras could spot these platforms, resetting its position. No spoofing could defeat the visual.
Without GPS, it switched to inertial navigation, but this system accumulates a massive 10 meters of error every minute over water.
At 0645, 8 kilometers off course, the second drone hit the dark water, vanishing without an explosion or a trace.
2 drones were left.
The ship's signals intelligence team was also working hard. Every electronic device creates silent harmonics and ghost frequencies.
The lead drone's receiver registered the lock, but the wood confused radar systems designed to look for sharp, clean aluminum returns.
The radar kept up losing lock, and the operator reported intermittent contact. The third FP1 made a sudden...
It shut down everything except its simple mechanical gyroscope, flying completely blind on compass heading alone through the dense fog. Running this electronic warfare system caused a new problem. Its own powerful jammers were actively degrading their own radar returns. Russian doctrine called this electromagnetic fratricide, a calculated and dangerous risk they were about to truly learn the heavy cost of.
At 0725, the ship directed a patrol boat to urgently investigate the intermittent contacts, accelerating quickly to 35 knots.
They had drilled this hundreds of times, engaged low-flying targets at 500 meters, walked tracers into the target's center.
Standard procedure was to investigate, identify, and engage, but they were briefed only for metal drones with clear infrared signatures.
The lead drone had 3 minutes of fuel left. Behind it, the third one flew on, invisible, but running its course blind.
At 0730, the lead FP1 reached the target area. The Russian spy ship sat exactly where they had predicted.
The spy ship had created a strong radar fence with 2 patrol boats. Classic Soviet doctrine assumed simple, predictable physics.
But the Black Sea had other plans. A severe temperature inversion was rapidly forming.
This meant anything 30 meters was completely invisible.
The lead drone approached at 0732, slipping completely underneath, and the patrol boat spotted it visually and finally opened fire.
3 rounds hit, but the engine kept running, and the drone cleared the boat's range with 90 seconds of fuel remaining.
Patrol boat radioed that a drone was inbound, damaged but still flying, heading for the high-value asset now.
They should have looked northwest. The third FP1 emerged from the morning haze at 0734, flying on its simple mechanical gyroscope alone.
The lead drone's engine finally ceased, beginning its silent, final glide, and it had already done its most critical job.
Every Russian eye was tracking it plunge into the dark water, while the real, ultimate threat approached completely unseen.
The ship's navigation radar couldn't depress below -5 degrees. The designers... A Russian lookout finally spotted the third drone at 300 meters, but the tragic, final moment was now too late. The 25 kilograms smashed into the mast base, and the resulting explosion instantly gutted the entire bridge structure.
The R381T arrays that could hear a radio in Romania melted, and the computers with 6 weeks of patterns were slagged.
6 weeks of vital, intense intelligence gathering, dozens of recorded launches, and all their predictive patterns were suddenly gone. The ship would eventually sail again, but its electronic eyes and ears were permanently blind and functionally useless now.
Within hours, Ukrainian drones were launching from new sites, using new patterns, completely invisible once again to the enemy.